What is going on, everyone? My name is Miles Farrington. I am here to bring you MONG Podcast episode 90 with my two co-hosts, Adam Leonard.
Hey, hey!
There we go. And Jordan Loafer. I said that right that time, right?
No.
Leffler. That was it. God, I got it worse.
We can go with penny loafers, I suppose. But
Yeah, I'm going to get it right next time.
Jordan's no good loafer.
Leffler. It's because I haven't said it in a while, so I just defaulted to not getting it right. I apologize.
No problem.
So, what's on everybody's playlist? Let me go ahead and spoil it. I'm playing Destiny again. I'm back.
Ooh.
I'm an addict again. I need my engrams and my legendary items.
How long were you clean, Miles?
I was clean for... It's been a few months. I was on break for a few months.
What does that mean? Like only 24 hours a day or something like that?
Oh, no, that means not playing it at all.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. It's just I'd done everything. I'd gotten my characters to where they needed to be, and then I had to make new characters, so it happens.
So you're prepping for the Taken King, is that what it is?
That is definitely what I'm doing. That DLC has me very excited.
Cool.
Yeah. What about you, gents? What are you up to?
Adam, you go first, because you have more exciting news than I do, I'm sure. Well,
So I'm like, now I'm still playing Persona 4 Golden. Pretty much that's all I've played this week. I'm now about 42 hours in. Finally past, I'm some ways past where I was stuck last time.
Excellent.
Interestingly enough, because last week I was complaining about the boss I got stuck on.
Mm-hmm.
That boss just really sucks. Like, even on easy, nearly, I just barely won that fight. Yeah. And the interesting, I'm 2 boss fights past that now, and those bosses are infinitely easier. So clearly that boss is just like inordinately hard. But
yeah, just kind of like a bottleneck.
Hmm.
But yep, I'm gonna beat it. I'm gonna beat it.
We believe in you.
Something I forgot to mention last week. I know that when I played it, I mentioned last week that if you play in harder difficulties, it's just basically a grinder. You just grind more and more. Well, I found out though that, and maybe I should have just realized this. Maybe it's just JRPG 101, but apparently if you have less characters in your party while you're grinding, the XP gets distributed out evenly depending on how many characters are in your party. So if you have one other person in your party, they'll get half the XP, and your character will get half the XP.
Makes sense.
So what I ended up doing towards the end of the game is it was just me and Yukiko, and we just beat the rest of the game together. I didn't have anybody else in my party.
Interesting.
Yeah, she just became so overpowered. So
yeah, I use her a lot too. She's kind of like my designated healer.
She's good for that.
Yep. Well, she's kind of double. She's better than a lot of RPG healers because she can heal and it's got a lot of support stuff, but she also brings the fire too.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then your character can basically do everything else it needs to.
Yep.
I'm just gonna keep nodding because I haven't gotten that far in the game.
How far did you get? Spoilers, but how far did you get?
I haven't fought anything yet. I played it for one night, and then
it does take a while to start getting into combat.
Yeah, I really want to finish it, but I just have not. Destiny, Binding of Isaac. I've had so many other things to play.
But Adam, sorry I interrupted you. What were you saying?
No, I was just gonna say that I finally got Naoto. They are a very interesting character. I gotta love how everybody else in the game just has one guy's got a sword and one guy's got a fan, and then Naoto comes along and she's got a gun. She's like a 14-year-old with a gun. That's basically what's going on there. So that's kind of awesome.
Well, that's anime for you, pretty much. 14-year-olds with guns.
She was definitely by far one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, it's hard to pick because everybody, or at least everybody in your main party is fairly interesting and enjoyable. Teddy's kind of obnoxious a little bit, so he's a little on the side. But everybody else I really like. I like Kanji quite a bit. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Asian person in the chat asks, "What are our thoughts on Trump?" We're not going to comment on that because this is not This is not a political podcast. Fortunately,
I'm waiting for him to be incorporated into a video game.
I don't ever want to see that happen.
Next,
Never,
the
ever.
next boss in Bloodborne, he just goes around going, "You're fired."
Okay.
He would make a great downloadable character for Mortal Kombat X.
Ugh. What is this fatality? He just like chokes you out with his toupee. So what are you playing right now, Jordan?
I'm still working on Metal Gear. I think I'm closer because we're actually talking about like the ultimate weapon, Metal Gear. Like they always refer to it as that. It's amazing. Yeah, it's starting to get to the point where the like little secrets, like, and I say secrets like the way you think of Metal Gear Solid and like how to beat Psycho Mantis or like how to get Meryl's codec number and stuff like that. Like the hard stuff that you can't really figure out on your own, you kind of have to like talk to other people or like look it up or what have you. I'm starting to get to those points, and some of them are really frustrating. I've broken down and just been like, you know what? I'm not going to get any enjoyment out of this if I don't look at something or talk to somebody and find out what's going on here.
I don't think anyone would blame you. That's what the internet's for at this point.
Yeah, video games are supposed to be enjoyed. I mean, I get the idea of a challenge and like the reward to figure it out for yourself, but you shouldn't be tearing your own hair out. It's supposed to be fun at the end of the day.
Yeah,
exactly. And especially, I mean, there's no clear, definite like checkpoint system. It just kind of like randomly checkpoints you, and so if you end up dying or dying, which is pretty easy to do, you're screwed. You have no idea where you're going to end up. And so it's just, there's no point in wasting time.
Yeah, that would be really unfortunate. You just like checkpoint right in front of a rocket and you're just stuck.
There are situations that are kind of like that. I'm a little surprised that they would like they're just, I remember thinking the other day, if I didn't have enough health in this one spot,
yeah,
or like if I didn't have enough rations to heal myself, I would probably have to start over.
Ugh. That's the worst situation to be in any video game. Well, gents, sounds like we're all having fun in our games of choice. In our addictions of choice. Oh,
I was also going to mention, I just picked up Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, and
nice.
I haven't started it yet, but I'm super excited. It looks like it's going to be so much fun.
Now, Adam, did you pick it up yet?
I do have it. I haven't actually got to play it yet because I've been playing nothing but Persona, but I did buy it to get like the discount on it. Apparently, you can press R2 and run. That's important to know.
I saw news about that today, and I was a little bit confused as to why that's news, sprinting in a game, but I'm sure it'll be explained to me, I don't know, whenever you all get a chance to play.
I get the impression this is probably a fairly slow game, and so like walking is probably very methodical, and this is all speculation, not a game that's already out, which I think is hilarious, but it's probably very methodical and like wants you to like kind of linger and like pay attention to details. It's a very, very pretty game.
Yeah.
But after a certain point, there are probably puzzles and whatnot where you're just going to want to be like, I kind of want to move.
I can actually speak to this. It's because in like the reviews have come out, there's been a lot of complaints about your walk speed. Apparently, it's like ploddingly slow, enough so that multiple reviews have like added that as like a negative point against the game. And so apparently, like they used to be that it automatically started you running if you kept moving in a direction for a little while. But then playtesters, I guess, said that they wanted a way to control it, so they added it as like a button function. But I guess failed to explain in the game that function exists. So anyways, they wound up having to send out, I think it was like a tweet today explaining that, yeah, you can actually run. We're sorry we didn't tell you about that.
Hey everyone, press the left stick forward and hit R2. Like,
yeah.
That's a pretty serious oversight, but I mean, at least they got the news out, I guess.
I don't know if it's an oversight. I mean, like, I feel like there are plenty of games that don't, like Bloodborne, for example, doesn't explain everything to do. Like, it doesn't explain exactly how to do all these different attacks and stuff like that. So,
very true. Very true.
It's one button. Like, you should probably be pressing all the buttons to find out what they do anyways.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. It'd be interesting if one of them just like, I don't know, grenade launcher. Why not?
Grenade.
Just running around throwing grenades at the pretty scenery.
Everybody's gone to the Rapture. I'm just gonna mess the rest of the world up. That's great.
I mean, wouldn't you? Just
Or
do
like press
everything you ever
X to
wanted.
rapture.
Press X to rapture. I want that to be an actual function in a game.
That would be amazing.
But
How long does it take for you to press X?
it's
Basically, everything grows to light is over.
it's just the most difficult game, and you lose when you rapture yourself out of it. You're just like, I don't want to do this anymore. Let me get out of here.
Or it's just incredibly boring or something. Or like you just
Yeah.
you just figure out there's nothing to do in the game. It's just like screw it.
So it's just one of the more recent Sonic games.
Right. Oh,
On that note, we should probably get on to the news.
Let's.
Yeah. So, news piece number 1 from the News from Nowhere. I really wish we had gotten the dude from Avatar to do that. That would have been great. But oh well. If you watch this podcast, which you probably don't, but you should come and do that voice for us. So topic number 1 is that Halo 5 Guardians has received a teen rating. That's not all that big, really, if you think about it. But the reason why we're even mentioning this is that every Halo game up to now has received an M rating. So the story goes, they received a teen rating from the ESRB, making it the first of the Halo first-person shooters to earn anything other than a mature rating. And the newly published ESRB listing highlights the standard Halo violence you'd expect. And I quote, players use pistols, machine guns, grenade launchers, and futuristic weapons to kill aliens and human enemies in frenetic combat. Frenetic, that's a nice word. Battles are highlighted by realistic gunfire, explosions, and occasional blood spatter effects. Characters can also use assassinations to kill characters by snapping their necks or by stabbing them with bladed weapons. Those are like some of the most badass animations you'll ever see in these games. And then there's also the game's language, which ranges from typical curses, such as the word ass appearing in dialogue, to the bizarre. This is an interesting one. There are occasional taunts, insults, e.g., I have copulated with your genetic progenitors. Another example insult includes a possible Monty Python reference, which is your father was a filthy colo and your mother was a hole in the wall. So this is some interesting stuff. So they mentioned that all of this was apparently not enough to earn the game a mature rating, even though the whole ESRB listing thing right now looks very similar to the Halo Master Chief Collection, or Halo, the first Halo, Combat Evolved, excuse me. So, what do you guys think about this?
it could. I mean, okay. So the motion picture rating society, what's it called? Does anybody know?
No.
Okay.
The people
You
who
know
rate
what I'm
movies.
You
Yeah.
know, people who rate movies. They for a long time have been given a lot of flack for basically being a sham. You know, like not really giving movies proper ratings, like possibly being paid off, or just being a part of the corporate world of film. And so basically giving a movie that should be probably rated R a PG-13 rating is probably going to give it more of an audience, and therefore more money made. Okay. So I do for a long time, I've sort of respected the MSRB for being, or ESRB, excuse me. Just mixing it up now. For being like very critical of video games and like making sure that they're pretty accurate. And I'm not necessarily saying this is inaccurate, but seeing as that it's fairly similar to other Halo games ratings, seems a little suspect that it's not rated M. Especially since rating something less than what it should be would give it a larger audience and therefore more profits made, and so on and so forth. Same situation as in film. So I mean, it's possible to changing times. Who knows?
Could be. Honestly, I come from the standpoint of I never have understood why exactly Halo was rated M to begin with. As someone I didn't play the first one, but who's played through 2, 3, 4, Reach, ODST, all of them. Yeah, it's a little violent, but it's not nearly as violent as some of the other M-rated games I've seen. There's not nearly as much blood, and also I'm pretty sure that they still have that thing where killing humans is like ranked above killing aliens, which is maybe why we haven't made contact with space yet, because they look at this and they're just like, they'll kill us and not even care. But you know, that's not a real opinion of mine, by the way. But it just seems odd. I always thought it was odd that the game was not rated teen, because at worst there was like maybe a curse word here or there, and then that's pretty much the extent of the M-ratedness that you're going to see in these games. So I think it's a good change personally. Just finally, teens can play it and not have their parents looked upon down badly. You know.
Sure.
Any thoughts on this, Adam?
Yeah, I first of all I agree with you, Miles, absolutely, and I think it's less about marketing, and I think it's just the times, really. Like, I think that it's just simply that Halo has not gotten more gritty. It's not like Halo has gotten darker and more violent.
Mm.
But as time goes on, like, what is considered acceptable and what is, considered, taboo or, too adult, that bar keeps on lowering. And so I think it's just a sign of the times is that what once was like offensive and, merited an M rating, 10 years ago is not the same now.
But at the same time, I mean, like, if there's nudity in the game, it would be rated M.
This is true. But
Like the sign of the times argument only really kind of counts for language and violence. Like, in a Puritan society that we have, at least in the U.S., and I think a lot of the rest of the world is, I mean, different, like Europe, for example. But,
yeah.
well, ESRB is North America, isn't it?
I think so. I'll fact check that.
Yep.
Oh, there you go.
So it would make sense that it would be, kind of based on our culture, I guess. But, so yeah, like I said, the sign of the times only really works for those factors. Like, it doesn't necessarily factor in the nudity piece or the sexuality piece or something like that. And I think that the fact that they mention those pieces as a reason to give it a higher rating in the ESRB rating, like the procreation lines and stuff like that, they kind of point to the fact that if it was a little bit worse, it probably would have gotten a higher rating.
Yeah, but I think like its smack talk is a little bit different than like if like Master Chief was like hanging dong in some like cutscene or something like that.
True, but if they said that, they probably would have gotten a rating.
If like, somebody talks about Master Chief hanging dong in a cutscene.
This podcast has now been rated M.
No, I mean I get your point. I mean I absolutely agree with you. We are such a pure, we are totally a country. As much as we talk about separation of church and state, we are a country that's based upon religion, and our morals are dictated thereof. And so I see your point there. I think that's absolutely a valid point that that plays into it.
I mean, it's not an original idea. I don't want to make it sound like that, but like,
No.
it is a little. I think it's just. It shows that the ESRB is starting to go in that direction more so than they have in the past. I mean, violence and language was always enough for video games to give it an M rating for the longest time. Any sign of
right.
And I mean, not necessarily like a platformer violence, like jumping on a toadstool's head or something like that. But if there's blood, if there's guts, it's probably going to get an M rating. That may not necessarily be the case anymore.
Now, okay, because you brought up kind of an interesting question about the longest time. Do you think it also is in some ways like a reflection of where video games are now as opposed to where they are like even like 10 years ago? Because I mean, we've kind of gone from a point where video games were considered fairly sophomoric and kind of a detraction on society to now in this day and age, it's getting more and more close. We're getting to the point where video games are, being considered like an art, on par with other mediums like television and film and literature. Do you think that somewhat changes the standards we hold these things to?
I don't know, maybe. I mean, I just, like I said, if to compare it to film, I think it's great to see it as like an art form. But when you compare it to film and how the films are rated, like you suddenly start to see where you don't necessarily want these two things to become similar. Just because film, I mean, it's pretty much a known fact that film ratings are completely marketing based.
No.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'm afraid the ESRB is going in that direction. Then again, this is one example.
Right.
Like Batman Arkham Knight got an M rating.
True.
And that was a Batman game. So,
What was in that would have actually warranted an M rating?
I think it was mainly the part where you take over you play as a police officer who's been affected by
Right.
the Scarecrow's fear gas, and I believe at one point you actually shoot people. So I think that was I guess that was kind of their thought process, which is like, it's kind of violent. There's a torture scene. So I guess also it could have been in that case that they were also thinking, this is Batman. Parents are going to be infuriated if we give this a teen in that sense. So it could have been simply reaction to what the subject matter was. But
that's fascinating because when you think about it, like the Batman Arkham Knight was rated M, but like the Batman movies, well, this might be exactly what Jordan's talking about. Is that they get that PG-13 rating, and arguably they do just as bad things in those movies as they do in any of the games.
yeah, in the second movie, the Joker puts a pencil through a guy's head. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Whoa, that was off screen. We don't know where that pencil actually went.
Well, it was totally on screen, actually. It's just that you don't see what happens to it.
Exactly. See, we don't see the result. He might just got knocked out from having his head hit on a metal table.
Yeah, the pencil went through the table. That's
yeah, exactly. His eye is actually made of steel. Not this isn't a riveting conversation, but we probably should move on. We're eating up time. We're burning through it.
We're getting deep tonight, is what we're doing.
Yeah, we're going to the root of the problem, and we're digging it up and planting a new tree. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Someone take over. Who's next?
All right. So next topic is that Star Wars Battlefront got 3 new modes teased. So they're not necessarily officially. We don't know exactly what they are. Essentially, there are 3 names for them. We've got Supremacy, Drop Zone, and Cargo. So they're kind of basing what these might be off of what other first-person shooters have had in the past, like multiplayer first-person shooters. So we already have Walker Assault, which is an attack/defend mode with AT-ATs advancing on rebel objectives. We already have Blast, which is a 10 versus 10 deathmatch, and Fighter Squadron, which is a 10 versus 10 air deathmatch, basically. And apparently that'll have another 20 NPCs in the skies to dogfight with. So what the speculation is right now, or do you guys want to, have you guys already read, do you know what the speculation is, or do you want to kind of speculate yourselves first?
You can get me started.
Okay. Okay, so Supremacy sounds like a fitting name for a conquest-style control point contest. Drop Zone maybe more like King of the Hill with designated zones that must be held for a set period of time, and Cargo could have rebels and Imperials fighting to protect or steal valuable items, capture the flag style. But I felt like this kind of raised the question of, do you guys feel like first-person shooter multiplayer games have varied enough gameplay modes? Like, it seems like so long ago there were these gameplay modes that were set, and they have not changed at all. Like, everything is based off of what those modes were, and I feel like there could be so much more variation, but nobody wants to test the limits.
There definitely could be, and you're right, though. All first-person shooters have some variant of team deathmatch, have some variant of capture the zone. There's some variation of capture the flag. I mean, even Destiny is essentially getting a capture the flag now.
Yeah.
So that, I guess, it's just like that's what everyone's comfortable with. But you're right, there could be variations. Like we've seen like games like Unreal Tournament have the modifiers and stuff that completely change the way the game is played, like zero gravity or giblets, or just all the different modifiers that you can put on just a simple match to make it something that's completely unique. Or honestly, Halo was doing it recently. Not recently, that was a while ago. But like in Halo Reach, you could make your own custom map types and like bumper cars. My friends and I actually played bumper cars for hours just because that was so not even new or unique. It was just something else to do. It was like we're finally not shooting each other in the face. We're driving each other off the cliff.
Now, for a time, and correct me if I'm wrong about this, because I was never really big on Halo, but I did know somebody who played it, and I watched him play it a bit. Wasn't there a time where they were releasing certain game types, like for certain weekends and stuff like that, where they would like only have it playable for a certain amount of time, and then it was gone for a while or something like that? I seem to remember something along those lines. I remember playing basically football for like a day.
Oh, that was a grip ball. That was a constant thing that you could do, but
Oh, was it?
I don't remember this specifically what you're saying, but
It would have been like in earlier games. Like I don't know.
Bungie does that now, so I can honestly see that happening in the past.
But like, and like, I always remember thinking like, oh my god, it looks so much fun. Like, I wish you could get all the time. Apparently, you could, but like, there are things like that that I feel like they can do now,
Definitely.
but they are not as much.
Well, to be fair, it kind of feels like Halo 5 is trying to innovate a little bit because, like, from the top of my head, I can't come up with a game mode, but essentially, like, essentially, it seems that they're trying to wheel out like a multiplayer, almost MOBA-like mode. That includes like kind of non-player characters and multiple varying objectives and stuff like that. So I think there's a little bit of innovation out there, but you're definitely right. They do have a hard time breaking from just like these kind of like archetypal game modes. Also, isn't Doom getting some kind of map designer too?
Yes.
That's going to add some variation to gameplay. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Now, I guess it's honestly because if you look at it at a competitive standpoint, I know not all games want to be CS:GO or they're what Halo used to be. I don't know if it's still as competitive as it was, but they can't break away too much because then the scene will die, and it's like one fun game mode can only subsist for so long because let's face it, the gaming population community's attention span has gotten kind of short. Because, like, I know if it's not one of the big titles, pretty much you'll see the online be like, this is amazing. This is the best thing we've ever played for these 5 days. And now we're going to go back to whatever we were playing, and it's not going to ever see support again. And if you want to play online, oh, well, you're out of luck. You might find another person, and that's it. So that honestly might be a part of it as well. I'm not defending not changing for the sake of keeping people comfortable, but
that makes sense though. Yeah, I mean, from a competitive standpoint, you want to learn game modes, you want to learn game maps, you want to do all this stuff and actually like get good at something.
Yeah.
And also a quick shout out to Nintendo. I'd also argue that while it's not a first-person shooter exactly, I do think that Splatoon is taking those ideas and kind of innovating and trying something new with it. I have it, unfortunately. There's just other stuff I've been playing, but every time I pick up to play a match, I really, really enjoy what it's doing.
Yeah.
I've heard great things about Splatoon.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I know in what's it called? Come to my memory, BattleBlock Theater. They had a mode that's like very similar to how Splatoon works, where you cover the map, and that was extremely fun. And I can imagine that being it might be interesting if someone, this is a free idea game, people take it if you want it. If like someone implemented something like that, except for maybe if you shot other enemies to a certain point, they came to your team. Which would become really unbalanced and might be horrible in the end game. But for like 5 minutes, it would be fun.
If I remember correctly, there was something like that. I don't know if you guys ever played Time Splitters 2 for the PlayStation 2. Like that's a first-person shooter that I always come back to. And we're going to bring it back to Star Wars Battlefront in a second here. But like it's just... Like, that was an older game that really tried a lot of different things and was really successful at just making it fun. Like, you could play as a monkey in the game, which was just ridiculous. Like, there were a ton of different characters you could choose from, which is kind of reminiscent of what, like, Evolve has done, but there were way more of them. But anyways, so back to Battlefront. I'm really excited about the game. Like, I really want to pick it up and play it. I'm a fan of the first one and the second one. I think it's awesome. But... and this is, again, speculating off of just the titles of these game modes, and we don't know exactly what they are yet, of course. But if they are just kind of these generic game modes, are you worried that with the amount of maps that they've announced, with the lack of space combat that they've been talking about, and with these game modes, that the game's not going to have enough variation, that there's not a lot of beef to the game? Because I know I am.
I don't know. I completely understand where you're coming from, though. Is it gonna get my money? Probably. Am I gonna play it for like as long as I play Destiny or Binding of Isaac? Probably not. Let's be honest. I mean, I've been pleased with what they've told me. Otherwise, I wouldn't say I'm gonna buy it. But yeah, they're they haven't announced any plans to like come out with stuff. Well, of course they're gonna have DLC afterward because that's what all games do nowadays. But have they announced like new mode plans or anything? Or
Are you asking if they have, or?
yeah, I don't. I haven't been keeping
I
up like
don't know
one
about
to one.
modes. I know they've announced that they're going to be releasing maps afterwards.
Mm.
Because there's not a lot of them that are announced right now. Yeah, it sounds a lot of fun, and obviously it's Star Wars. Like it's a franchise that everybody wants to dive into.
Mm.
Mostly everyone, I guess. But I think they knew from the start that everybody wanted another Battlefront. Everybody wanted Star Wars, and they're giving us basically that. And yeah, it's gonna sell. And I'm just worried that it's not going to be the most long-lasting game.
Well,
I'm disappointed there's not a story mode, personally. That was kind of what I was hoping for, is because I'm not a huge shooter fan, but I would say like most people are a pretty big Star Wars fan, and so
mm.
like a pretty next gen game that was going to put me in the Star Wars universe. Yeah, I'm excited for that. But I was kind of disappointed because I was hoping that there would be some kind of like meaningful single player narrative to it. I like you. I will. I plan on picking it up at some point. It does come out the same month as Fallout 4, so we'll see exactly when that gets picked up. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, to be fair, like the other Battlefronts didn't have stories, but I agree that like doesn't necessarily mean that this one shouldn't. They definitely could have done something where like at least it was kind of a create your own story, like a Madden franchise mode or something like that. But we'll see. Who knows? Might still have something in the works. The game's not out yet.
This is true. This is very true. So we should probably move on to story number 3. I believe Mr. Leffler,
Yes.
Or is it Adam's turn?
Adam.
I think it's my turn.
I don't
So there was an announcement of a Steam-based handheld device. It's called the Smach Zero. You can Smach. I'm assuming it's Smach, or it could be Smatch, but I think it's Smach.
Really smart.
Anyways, if you pre-order it, you get it for an early bird price of $2.99. Otherwise, you will pay more when it comes out next year. Apparently, they are saying that it's going to support more than 1,000 games on Steam at launch, and then there's a whole bunch of technical mumbo jumbo that I'm not going to bore you with.
So as far as the technical mumbo jumbo, I'm kind of interested in where it stacks up in the handheld market.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, like obviously, Adam, why aren't you figuring that out right now? But but like, I would imagine its biggest competitor is probably going to be the Vita. Not necessarily that that's a lot of competition at the moment, but I love mine. Don't get me wrong. I'm playing Metal Gear on it right now, but I think that I don't know. Like, do you think that you're going to get a lot of PC players getting one of these? That's
Nope.
another good question. Yeah.
Nope. I don't honestly know. It's the same question of the Steam boxes have had since they were announced. Who are they trying to market this to? Because like with the Steam box, everyone who uses Steam that heavily that will want to buy a console for it already has a giant PC that can handle everything. And at the same time, I don't know specifically how all this is going to work, but like, is this going to? Yeah, I'm reading the specs a bit, and it's going to have 32 gigabytes internal memory, with room for external expansion. But still,
Sure.
like, I guess it's going to be like a streaming device, like the Nvidia Shield is. But at the same time, it's like, is it going to be able to play like the big games? Like when Fallout comes out, is it going to be able to play that? Is it going to be able to play Witcher 3? And at the same time, it's like it's a 5-inch screen, which is I believe about as big as my phone is. So there's a little gauge for you. I don't.
Sure.
My camera's a slideshow right now, so who knows if you actually see it? There it is. So it's like I don't think anyone who actually plays PC games is gonna want to play on this.
That might not necessarily be the market, though.
True, true, but it's like It seems like supports 1,000 games in Steam at launch. This is for Steam people,
Yeah.
and I mean, I guess it might. I just I don't see this having the same like appeal to like I don't know a new gamer like a parent or a grandmother or like some parent who's looking to buy something for their kid. Like on DS and Nintendo you have Mario, all these amazing little kiddie games. My camera's finally catching up to everything. You have all that like amazing background or to the library of stuff. Whereas Steam, albeit it is an amazing library, might not be like for that audience, if you know what I mean. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be people who pick it up. I'm sure there's already someone.
I just wonder if they're trying to crack into the console market, and obviously they are. Like, this is a console, but the fact that the people who have PlayStation 4s and Xbox Ones, maybe not necessarily Nintendo Wii's if that's your first console, your go-to, but for example, I don't have a very powerful PC. I would never be able to really handle. If I play Skyrim on my computer, like it has to be in the windowed mode. That's like probably the size of the screen that's going to be coming out of this thing. Okay, so like it's probably for people who don't want to spend thousands of dollars on a PC rig, but they want to play PC games. Same goes for the Steam box. Mm-hmm. I think it's a cool idea, and I'm really interested to see if it goes anywhere. Because I think that there is a market for it. I'm just not sure if it's big enough. Because a lot of those people, a lot of gamers, are very dedicated to their platforms of choice.
Yeah.
So,
I kind of see this going the way of the Engage, or any other handheld that has tried to come out that has not been a PSP or a Nintendo or Game Boy.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, Adam? On the Smach Zero.
Smach Zero.
My first impression is that it was going to basically be like a little indie box, so you could play all those indie games. Like part of me goes like I kind of get them wanting to go console because I just have a laptop and I don't really like playing games on my laptop. I have trouble with that, and I don't really want to get a actual PC. I don't want to actually spend the money to get an actual PC. I like being able to play on my couch. And so I see the appeal of the idea of a Steam console, but then like the thing that I keep on coming back to is that there's not a whole lot of compelling reasons for me to make that jump, because most of the things I really, really want to play, I could probably be doing it on something I've already got.
True.
There's not some kind of killer app out there for Steam that it's just, like I need to have, a Steam box. That's kind of my problem.
See, the other big issue is that, like, I know that the Steam boxes seem like consoles, and that seems like that's what they're trying to do. But, like, if you look at the details, they're not consoles. Like, they're little computers, and they have specs, they have different statistics, and just like even this computer that I love so much, that I spent so much of my money on, it's going to become obsolete. And those Steam boxes, if they're trying to play PC games, are going to become obsolete. So, like console, you buy it, it lasts until the developer wants it to stop. Whereas a Steam box, you're going to buy it and it's going to be like a computer. So it might last you a good chunk of time, but it's not going to be like the 20 years that we're looking at for the lifespans of consoles these days.
Well, right. I don't think there's any consoles going for 20 years.
Well, yeah, that was
an exaggeration.
yeah. Like, honestly, I think 15 years at best, because the last one was 10 years.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
I still think there's probably FIFA coming out for PlayStation 2 right now.
We're not even going to talk about FIFA. FIFA just holds on too long. But,
anyways.
Yeah, it's just like, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I understand where you're coming from, Miles, and I agree to an extent, just because we don't know how long these are going to last before they come out with the next version, if they do. But, I mean, at the same time, our consoles, PlayStations, Xboxes, Nintendos, are computers to an extent.
True.
I mean, they're just dedicated to gaming.
True.
But, yeah, I get what you mean. I'm willing to give this a chance because Steam is such an established marketplace.
Mhm.
And to see that make a leap to being something that's very dedicated is really encouraging and exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, if I could have Steam on my PlayStation, what else would I need?
That almost happened. It's sad it didn't.
I know. But like, I'd get first-party games, the first-party games that I want,
Yeah.
as well as everything else that comes out on Steam. I think it's getting closer to that level, but I think that Valve is probably more interested in this venture and where it's heading.
No.
I'd love to have one whenever a Steam sale went on, because that's like especially when I do most of my buying. But to be fair, on the flip side of that, though, because of like the power of Steam's pricing, like Microsoft and Sony have started to kind of get the hint when it comes to digital sales and digital pricing.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I'm gonna talk about something that just happened. My camera is being on the fritz. Of course, everyone has noticed that. I made a horrible face when Jordan said something that was not directed at him. That was directed at my camera because I realized it was chugging. Just gonna clear that up before anyone says anything. That was not like mean or anything. I don't know. Anyway, are we ready to move
did not catch anything like that, but if anybody else out there was paying that close attention, thank you for watching.
Okay. So story number 4 is we're gonna get a little bit into the Gamescom stuff because there was a lot of it, and we don't have enough time to cover all of it, but we're gonna try. So Scalebound, which we talked about a little bit, there has been a big gameplay video and everything of it. They showed off a lot more about what the game actually is, since we've been kind of in the dark since E3. For one, they reveal that you will always play as the character whose name I've forgotten, Ryan maybe, it was something generic, but to give a little bit of the peering into the story, it is about a kid from our world who gets transported into their world, there being wherever the dragons and these knights in armor are from. Pretty much, it seems like you're going to be bound to this dragon that you get, scalebound. I just realized what that meant. And there's going to be a lot of customization for your dragon. Like, you can change the color of its scales, you can change its spike things, its element. There's going to be a lot of changing up of the dragon itself. There's multiplayer. It's gorgeous. It's going to be a massive open world. You can, of course, command the dragon, although it has its own AI. You're fighting soldiers on the ground as well as giant monsters. The one they showed off was like a mantis thing that had giant pincers and junk spikes all over the place. So yeah, I'm actually getting very excited about this game. Have you two seen the gameplay or anything, or read anything?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. It's got a real Monster Hunter feel, and I've been kind of wanting that since they went over to Nintendo, a place where I can never go. So
It also kind of sounds like Microsoft is a place that you would never want to go to, though. So
I'm actually more willing to go to Microsoft because, like, they have Halo, they got Gears. Those are two things I really want to play. But
Sure.
yeah. So what do you all think of what you've seen of Scalebound so far? I'm quite pleased.
Like I said, I'm excited. Like I like a good fantasy action RPG type of game. Like I said, I kind of joke that it looks like Last Guardian's like varsity football playing older brother. So I'm really excited about it. I mean, I have some question. Like, I was admittedly a little bit dubious about like the protagonist, that he's like this, this sweet modern dude who's got his like Dr. Dre beats on while he's trying to like fight like the bad guys, and so we'll see how the character develops out. But it's like a big, exciting new fantasy game, so I'm all for rooting for it to do well.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as you, Adam. Like, I'm not convinced that this story is all there. But I do really like the setting. I mean, like, I'm a sucker for dragons. Like, if there's a dragon in it, I'm really excited. For some reason, since I was a kid. Yeah, I'm interested in it. It's probably a game that, if there were other games in the Xbox's exclusive library that I were really interested in, I would put that up there with one of the games that makes me excited for Xbox's exclusive library, and maybe possibly someday down the road getting an Xbox One and playing it. It's not going to happen right now for personal financial reasons. But yeah, it looks cool. I'm really excited for Xbox owners to get something like that looks that great.
Yeah. I want to see what they can do to the story to make it not be atrocious, because I admit that character is awful. I really want to play this game, but I don't like him.
I think they wanted to do something different, which is not a bad thing. I mean, it's not the most original idea in the world. It's kind of like a kid in King Arthur's court or whatever the hell that movie was called.
Anything like that, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not, like I said, it's not completely original, but at least it's original enough for people of this generation and of gaming, I'd say. I don't think there's anything that's completely like that in gaming.
Yeah. All right, well, I'm good with moving on. We have 15 minutes left, so we can either quick fire or
for sure. Yeah, let's
see
do
how far we get.
Well, we'll do a quick fire if you guys want. I'll just kind of breeze through this bit here. I thought the story was pretty interesting. As someone who plays Hearthstone, I know you guys aren't big on it, but I found this number rather staggering.
This is true.
Blizzard's free-to-play digital card game, Hearthstone Heroes of Warcraft, reportedly brings in $20 million every month.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money, especially for a game that you don't have to buy. Research group Superdata says Hearthstone is dominating the digital CCG space thanks in part to its release on smartphones. The firm claims that Move Alone boosted monthly revenues by 31%. If accurate, the figure makes Hearthstone a bigger monthly earner than Dota 2, which Superdata reportedly earlier this year as bringing in $18 million per month. Exact figures for Hearthstone have been hard to come by since Activision Blizzard has only bundled its figures with Heroes of the Storm and Destiny in its financial reports. Altogether, the three games have brought in more than $1 billion. So we could probably put Activision Blizzard up there with one of the four companies that's going to rule the world in the future. But yeah, I mean, it just boggles the mind. I have not spent a cent on this game, and I still have a ton of fun in it. But I know there are people who just go crazy and buy like 100 packs of cards, and that's great for them. But I don't know anybody who does that. Like, I don't know where this market is and like why they're doing it. I'm a very casual gamer as far as this goes, but that's a lot of money.
People gotta get those grim patrons, man. Yeah, this is very impressive. Like, Blizzard is they are apparently masters of God, what is it? The term I'm looking for.
Microtransactions?
Not microtransactions. Reverse psychology. There we go. Just like, hey, it's free, but here's some stuff you can buy. Here's some more stuff you can buy. Here's some more stuff you should buy. Not saying that's how they do it, but those are staggering numbers for a online card game to me.
Yeah.
But this is me. Adam, any thoughts on this?
You come up with you come up with a full-fledged free product and then just kind of leave enough of a stick and a carrot to get people to come forward. Doesn't really shock me all that much. I mean, I can see how this would scratch, because my roommate's like was like a big time Magic card player, and so I can kind of get the mentality that goes behind wanting to be competitive, and so I get it. I get why people get enjoyment out of spending money on it.
Do you think it's more of a reflection of that, or like the mobile games market? I mean, like, because there's a lot of money being passed around as far as there too, and it could definitely spell. I don't know how I feel about mobile games right now. It could be trouble for the market, but it could also be really liberating for it. I don't know.
I think it's both, because I think that there's both things converging. I guarantee you there are some people who are big time strategy card game players who started to play Hearthstone and spend money because that's how they're accustomed to keeping up their hobby. But you're right. I also think that you're right. I think that the market has very much become about like microtransaction, like spend a little amount of money at a time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'd be interested to see how this trend is doing down the road. Like, if it skyrockets with the their next expansion, or if it, I don't know, dwindles a little bit. I don't know. I guess we can just go through the stories, and whoever's saying can just pick one if they want.
Different town.
So, Adam, your turn, my friend.
Okay. Well, I'll just. So apparently there have been some job postings from Blizzard that indicate there might be a new Diablo project of some sort in the works.
Yeah.
Either of you guys play Diablo 3?
Yeah.
A little bit.
I played it enough to finish it, and then never picked it up again.
See, I didn't even get that far. I played it a bit, and I was just kind of like, this is kind of grindy, and not like I didn't realize until I played that how much I love a story in a video game.
Yeah, this is exactly what I did. And then one of my friends was just like, "Hey, you want to play Diablo?" And we finished it in that day. And I was like, "If you hadn't have done this, I never would have finished this."
Yeah.
But yeah, they're looking for a art
director.
Yeah.
I actually played quite a bit of Diablo 3. Not as much as some people I know, but I think it's kind of like a childhood thing because I kind of got into like the first Diablo when I was a kid, and when I was a kid, it was like super cool because it was like it's just like super dark and like gothic, and you're fighting like skeletons and demons and stuff like that, and so it was kind of badass when you're like 11 years old, and it just kind of just kind of carried over. I admit the story's nothing, but it'll be interesting to see if it's actually another expansion or if they're starting to think about like a new Diablo game, which seems very unlikely because we know how Blizzard certainly takes its time to like make anything.
Yeah.
Have they? But I didn't read the story completely, but have they given any indication of what this could be alluding to? Is like if it's even a game?
It says unannounced project Diablo.
All it says is pluses for applicant. They noted it as a plus for applicants if they're a passion for games with a deep understanding of the Diablo franchise.
Yeah.
So I mean, it could very easily be. I mean, I know that they did like a World of Warcraft comic book with Dark Horse Comics, or like it was a book of I don't remember exactly what it was, but I know they partnered with them and did something like that. So it could be something along those lines. It could be a short film. I mean, it could be anything. It could be a movie for all we know, a Diablo movie. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, I guess only time will tell. I mean, if anything, they should keep making Diablo because those cinematics are absolutely gorgeous and really entertaining to watch.
It's true.
And there's a surprisingly hardcore community behind it. Once again, referring back to my roommate, I have witnessed him play Diablo, and he will sit there for months. Like I kid you not, there was a period of months where he would just sit there and play the same levels over and over and over and over and over again. And I'd ask him like, "What are you? Why are you keep on playing this?" And he's like, "Well, if I find this one item, it's going to like increase this one stat by a certain percentage, and then I'll get more magic items." And at this point, he purchased it for PC. He bought, I think, 2 separate copies for it for PlayStation 3, because he bought one, and then I think he paid for the expansion. And he just upgraded to a PS4, and I guarantee you if they release a new expansion, he'll buy it for PS4.
Wow.
That's devotion.
He's not alone in that. I know a lot of, there's a community of people out there that are that dedicated to that game.
Well, it kind of sounds like the Destiny crack. I mean, like just playing the same thing over and over and over again until you get exactly what you're looking for.
Right, it's exactly the same thing. I mean, it's very much it's the exact same experience. I know there's a lot of people out there who are still doing that today.
Yeah. Just trying to get loot. That's all there is. Because I mean, I can say that for Diablo. It's one of the most gratifying games in terms of loot, if you ask me.
Sure.
Because Destiny, they're like, you're not going to see anything. You might play for 2 months, you're not going to get anything. In Diablo, I had a legendary item, I think is the highest rarity. I had one of those like before I finished the game. I'm just running around like with my crown on, just I'm the best.
See, for me, like when I was playing it, I just got a lot of that stuff. Like I got a lot of really high level stuff, and I kind of felt overwhelmed by how much of it there was. Like I felt like I was getting too much of it. It wasn't enough of a drive for me to look for better stuff. Whereas when I was playing Destiny, which I played for a couple months, like pretty hard, and like it's just so rare. Like, and you know
Yeah.
exactly what you're looking for, and you know you're never gonna find it unless you play the same thing like in the same place over and over. And I'm sure that Diablo gets to the same level. I just never got to that point.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll move on to the next story. I'm gonna choose the Battletoads story because everyone loves talking about a little bit of Battletoads every now and then. So the story is that Battletoads, the character Rash, is going to be put into Killer Instinct, and we've seen a Battletoads revival kind of creeping in there for so many months, and it's finally happening, and it's definitely not how I thought it was gonna happen. But I'll admit, however stupid he looks like a really good character. Yeah, I don't know if anyone's actually played the original Battletoads, but it features his motorcycle.
Yep.
I shouldn't say original Battletoads. I don't know what Battletoads that was actually in. Is there just one?
Unoriginal, but one of them I don't know.
Oh, okay, all right. It features his motorcycle. He's got that kind of upbeat, cocky personality, I guess, and he's a giant frog that beats people up. So I don't. Yeah, go ahead.
There were a couple of different Battletoad games. There was like Battletoads. There was an arcade game, which I don't know differentiates at all from like the Nintendo game.
Hmm.
And there was also a Battletoad Double Dragon crossover.
Yeah, I played the Nintendo one.
Battletoads and Double Dragon.
Yeah, I kid you not.
Wow, that is actually one of the top search results on Google. Whew, that's something. Anyway, I guess Killer Instinct is just starting to take a step in the way that Mortal Kombat's been going, where it's just like, hey, you know that character that has nothing to do with this? Go ahead and bring him over. We'll pit him against some of our fighters.
But they also chose one of the characters that you can't really swing a stick without hitting a sprinkle of reference to it these days. Like, it seems like every day a new reference to Battletoads is coming out, which is starting to feel a little overused to me.
Yeah, at least it's. Who knows? Maybe this is just like the first step to making a even bigger Battletoads game.
That'd be great if they're trying to ramp up excitement. Sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely what they're doing. They're trying to reinvent, they're trying to refamiliarize the modern populace with the brand so that they can make a game based on it.
Definitely. And I mean, by the way, we do know that it makes a little bit of sense for these two to be related because they're both made by, they were both originally made by Rare. But
right.
For anyone who's like arguing, oh, they're made by Rare, that's enough for Rash to show up against Kilgore and Chief Thunder. You're not on the ball because that doesn't make sense.
Don't do that.
I mean, that's how I felt when they put Freddy in Mortal Kombat, and that had nothing to do with anything. But this is interesting news. It's I don't even know if you can call it interesting, but it's Battletoads. So you're not a real gaming podcast if you don't talk about it.
Well, now we're a real gaming podcast. Congratulations.
We talked about Battletoads.
We finally made it. So, Miles, how much time we got left?
We've got 5 minutes.
All right, I'm gonna plug the PS4 firmware update real quick. It's really long, but it's kind of interesting, I think.
Plug it.
So, PlayStation 4 firmware 3.0. We hit 3 apparently. Adds YouTube broadcasting and Twitter video upload features. So basically, the whole point of the story is that, or the biggest point of the story is that, so they're testing it in Japan right now, and somebody dropped a hint that YouTube is going to become a streaming service for PlayStation. So it won't be just Twitch and Ustream for PS4. It'll also be YouTube. And I think there was another reveal about that. There was also stuff about how you'll be able to upload stuff to Twitter, like 10-second videos to Twitter, and all sorts of different stuff for the share function. Go ahead and look it up. There's a bunch of stuff. But it sounds cool. It's great that they're adding more share features.
I'm gonna be the devil's advocate and say what everyone is thinking. They're still not folders. Where are our folders, Sony?
Yeah, that would actually be kind of nice if we could customize what goes where.
Yeah. I'm getting really tired of having my OCD kick in and having to start up games and shut them down just to move them up ahead of the more nonsense
That's true.
shovelware that's on there that I don't actually want. But this is good stuff. I mean, it's definitely YouTube has been making that push to be a streaming service as of late. So it'll be interesting to see what they can achieve now that they have like a proprietary console. Just like, hey, stream on YouTube or Twitch. Who cares? Just stream. Do it. I
Yep.
still don't understand why there's not a Twitch app though. That's just one thing, but
Yeah.
I tried to find it the other day, and no.
nope, not on PS4.
Yep.
I don't.
You have to do live from PlayStation.
You can actually the browser can handle Twitch. Thank God.
Really?
Yeah, it can. I spent many hours watching Twitch on my PS4, but it was just like, it's just you having to use the browser, so it's a little bit unintuitive. Whereas an app
Sure.
would just be amazing. But
How's
yeah.
the quality on that?
It works like just like Twitch would. Like it's
Yeah.
like loading it up in a Google Chrome or anything, but it's just not the same because you have to navigate and use the arrow to press buttons and stuff.
Yeah. That is interesting.
I found the full screen didn't work right. Like, it was like too blown up. So either I had like a picture where I wasn't seeing everything, or I had to have it like, I'd had to have like the full like Twitch page up.
Now I have noticed that PS4 anything with the browser, like if you have overscan on your TV, it'll mess it up.
Mhm.
Like it'll just put stuff off the screen, which infuriated me to no end. Which is why I know what overscan is at this point. So I'm not saying that's what your issue is, but it's like, do you all know what overscan is? Because this might as well be a little educational thing.
No, but
Educate.
educate us.
Okay, so overscan is essentially what old TVs used to have when programming channels used to, I guess, film live things. So overscan would be like a little space off to the sides of the screen that would just be pretty much so that the cameras have like, it's hard to explain, but there's like sometimes there'd be like little symbols, I guess, off to the side, and I don't know if that was the camera putting it in or the broadcast service. And the overscan just pretty much put those symbols off the screen so you wouldn't see them. And now, since most of our channels are digital, we don't actually need overscan anymore. But a lot of TVs still come with it already turned on, just because. Even though 99% of the time you will never see anything, you'll just have a bigger picture, or well, scaled down, but you'll see a bigger picture if you turn off overscan. So it's like an old thing that should be done away with that isn't, because it's just the norm at this point.
Huh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So I was reading up a little bit on the Twitch app situation for PS4, and I actually read something that makes a little bit of sense. It seems like so they've got Ustream and they've got Twitch right now, and the Live from PlayStation app allows you to see both of those.
Yeah.
But it's also only PlayStation games.
Yep.
So it could very well be because that they don't want to be showing other games on their service. So say an Xbox exclusive or something that's not playable on PlayStation 4.
That does make perfect sense.
Shame on you, PlayStation.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense, but I correct me if I'm wrong, but PlayStation 3 did have a Twitch app. Okay, never mind. PlayStation 3 did not have a Twitch app. I did not know that. But I guess this is one thing that Microsoft has up on them, because they have a Twitch app.
Yep.
And I used to love it. PlayStation, you're losing points.
I just want to tell PlayStation, because I know they're listening right now.
Right, tell Shu.
Shoot. I just want to let you know I use my PS4 to watch Microsoft's Gamescom conference, so there, take that.
Shuhei,
I'm not sure if that's like a plus. I'm not sure if that's a plus for or minus for Microsoft or both.
It's both. They're just getting a net of 0.
Yeah.
Well, gents, it is 11:15 on my end, which means we've been doing this for an hour, which means it is time for us to adjourn. I don't remember if I used that word right.
Sojourn,
Sojourn?
I think.
I don't know, whatever. I would look up a definition, but I'm not feeling that petty right now. Anyway, it has been lovely hanging out with you two, as well as our audience. Yes, we appreciate you being here, my co-host, and our audience. You're all wonderful. Anyway, this has been MONG Podcast, episode 90. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope everyone enjoyed it. I hope you two have a lovely week. I hope our audience has a lovely week. And Mong.
Mong.
Long.
Mongity mong 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 mong.